Hi everyone, welcome back to Wrestle Fun with Father and Son. I'm Father Matt and this is Son.
Hi.
And this is our Wrestle Kingdom 14 sort of reactions. Yeah, I said there's sort of the reactions. I'm not going to go through every match because there were quite a few matches and it was a 2-day event. I'm just going to go through the ones that are sort of more of like the people we kind of know. And some of the sort of shining highlights of the event. We'll talk about the first match from the first night, 4th of the 1st to 2020. It was a John Moxley versus a Lance Archer for the IWGP United States Championship in a Texas death match. As we know, Moxley did have this title. He lost it because he didn't defend that belt in, I think it was 30 days, so they stripped him of it, and this is kind of the sort of comeback from that. Quickly, I'll say that the rules for this match were you could either win by a 10 knockout, 10 count knockout, or a submission. A bit like a last man standing match. A bit like what Kai said when we were watching. It was a bit like a last man standing match. First of all, Moxley got some chairs from underneath the ring. Sort of, you know, quick. It was a fast start to it. There was a kendo stick used. There was a suplex onto some chairs as well. There was a crucifix bomb onto some chairs. There was a little bit of a sort of a spot with the bag where he tried to suffocate Moxley with the bag. And there was some tables, used little tables and that. First of all, this match...
They're like mini tables.
Yeah, they're kind of like mini tables because obviously this is in Japan.
Put some together and they're making a little table.
Well, that's what they did. They put two of these little tables together to make one big one. It was in the Tokyo Dome. I didn't really say that, but it was in Japan. Let's just go on about the Texas Death Match first off. This match, I don't think is as bad as the one that Moxley had with Omega. No way. This was actually a tame hardcore match as far as I was concerned. There wasn't really anything...
There's so much blood coming from Archer.
Well, you say there's so much blood. Well, basically, yeah, but let's go through the end. The end was a paradigm shift through the tables from the apron to the two tables. Archer did cut his arm, which had a little bit of blood, not loads of blood like Kai was saying, but there was more blood in the Omega match with Moxley than this match. But yeah, it was Moxley that got the win, so he was the new IWGP United States Champion. After the match, he got a mic and he called out Juice Robinson and he challenged him. Obviously, like I say, 2-day events. The next day, which we'll go on to in a minute, that was the sort of follow-on match to this one. Next, we had another match we'll cover, which was Will Ospreay versus Takahashi. This match. This was for the, shall I say, IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. Before I go on, this match probably, in my opinion, at the 2 days, was probably the 5-star match of the night. This was a really good match. Ospreay, I put Ospreay. His athleticism is incredible. He did this sort of flipping sort of thing, didn't he? Where he sort of flipped out of the ring, then he sort of flipped backwards. It flipped into the ring, and then he did a flip again.
I saw him go to the entrance up and then he rolled into the ring.
Yeah, that was basically that's what I'm saying. That's the sequence of saying. And there was a post on Twitter where he's actually icing his ankle, which they said he did in this spot. So he did actually might have picked up a bit of an ankle. They're saying it could be a broken ankle, but this match was just a brilliant. Overall, Will Ospreay. I know he's got his own. He's got his own promotion. You know, he's British as well. He's a British wrestler. He's got his promotion in this country. I would like to see him in some sort of AEW ring. I really would. I think he'd do some really good matches with Kenny Omega. I really do think. But Ospreay was the champion going into this match. But coming out of this match, he actually lost the match. So Takahashi is the new IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion. In what I think is probably the match of the event. I thought it was brilliant. If you can get to see this match, you need to see this match. It was a really, really good one. Then we go on to the main event. It was Okada versus Ibushi for the IWGP Heavyweight title. I put this as a 40-minute wrestling match, and it really was a wrestling match. I found with Japanese sort of matches, they sort of build it and build it and build it. Then they get to like the sort of the ending where they build up so much. They have all these near falls, the crowd are heightened, and they tell a really good story. And I put that a really good story. There was a nice tombstone. I call it a tombstone on the apron. There There was an outside German suplex, which was a really nice move as well. Like I say, this one was a really good match. This was, like, to me, on the first night, this was the second best match on the card. A very good match, and in the end, it was Okada who retained his title. And earlier on in the pay-per-view, they had Jay White versus Naito, and the winner of that match, which was Naito, would face the winner of this match. It was Okada, so we would have Okada versus Naito the second day. We will now quickly go on to the second day. Right, so the next day for Wrestle Kingdom 14, 5th of the 1st, 2020. I watched this one. Kai didn't really watch this one. Not much to go through, Kai, so we'll quickly go through, and you'll have to just sort of see if you can follow what I'm saying. John Moxley versus Juice Robinson for the IWGP United States Championship singles match. I put that didn't mean that they didn't use chairs. They actually did use some chairs in this. No DQ. It was a very quick start because Juice Robinson got a really quick jump onto Moxley as he was coming in. That, like I say, there was some chairs done. But the end of this match was 2 paradigm shifts to Juice Robinson that put him away, and Moxley retained. It wasn't as good as
Moxley always wins his matches.
Well, he normally wins the majority of his matches, yes. This one wasn't as good as the one the night before with Lance Archer. This was okay. But after the match, we got Suzuki came out. I'm not really up on my Japanese wrestlers. I'm not really up on New Japan. I just like watching the big pay-per-view, Wrestle Kingdom, or watching a few of the sort of people that I know are like Will Ospreay or Kenny Omega or, let's say, Moxley or Jericho or them sort of things, Bushi, Okada. These are the wrestlers I kind of know. I like watching their matches. So I don't really know who Suzuki is, but I've read that he is like a proper legit hard fighter, MMA fighter, that sort of thing. So kind of a good fit for Moxley because he's like that brutal style of wrestling. He did a gotch pile driver to John Moxley, basically saying, I'm coming for that title, and that's what I think they're kind of saying. Then we had Jericho versus Tanahashi, and before this match, Jericho said, if you beat me, you can have a title shot for the AEW title at a later date. Tanahashi did a sort of mock Jericho band video before this, which was quite entertaining, even though it was in Japanese. I could get the idea of what they're coming from. Then Jericho comes out as the Painmaker, a bit different to the normal Jericho. He has sort of the sort of face paint on. Jericho did a nice little spot with the camera where he got a camera and he was like sort of mocking Tanahashi, like typical Jericho sort of stuff. He did a DDT onto the table, which was a nice little spot. There was a ref bump and a low blow. A weight lifting belt whip from Jericho, because Jericho wears a weightlifting belt now. He whipped Tanahashi with that, only for then Tanahashi to come back with his own low blow. They were working Jericho's knee for a little while as well. There was a nice frog splash into a code breaker, which was a really nice spot. Tanahashi goes up to the top turnbuckle, goes for that frog splash, only for Jericho to get his code breaker in, and that was a really nice spot. Tanahashi did his own code breaker to Jericho, which quite looked nasty. It looked like Jericho caught his face on Tanahashi's knees, like for real. But in the end, it was Jericho who got the Walls of Jericho locked into Tanahashi, and he made him tap out. So no Tanahashi title match coming in AEW. I don't know what they're going to do there in the future. They sort of teased that they're going to have a working relationship with New Japan. We'll have to see if we see any of their stars on AEW. And we get the main event, Naito versus Okada, and this is for the IWGP Heavyweight and Intercontinental. And quickly, I'll just say their Intercontinental belt is white. Their new WWE belt is not anymore. It used to be white. It's not anymore. Maybe they're trying to sort of segregate themselves from New Japan there a little bit by changing the title. But again, this was a really good match. Again, that building up storytelling that they did throughout the match, where it sort of starts off slow, they work a hold, they were working the knees as well of Naito. Okada was working his knees, again telling that story and building it up to the near falls, the finishers. But in the end, it was Naito who got the win, and he is a double champion, only for him to be celebrating after the match, and then Kenta comes in and GTS's Naito. Kenta, if you can remember, Kai, is Hideo Itami from NXT. He Obviously he left NXT, he went back to New Japan, resumed his name of Kenta, which is what he used to be called, and now he's putting himself into the heavyweight and Intercontinental title run. Title race, should I say, against Naito. So we'll have to see what happens there. I might follow New Japan a little bit more with some of their superstars than just sort of watching Wrestle Kingdom every year. But like I say, no Kenny Omega. Not surprised, to be honest. He's got quite a few commitments in AEW now, and that's where he solely is at the minute. But yeah, overall, the 2 days, there were some really good highlights. Like I say, I like to watch just the matches of the people I know, and they didn't disappoint. They were really good matches. So I just thought I'd quickly go through it as a sort of reactions, and see what you thought of Wrestle Kingdom, if you got a chance to watch it, and what do you think of that Will Ospreay match? That was a really good match. Highlight for me was that match. So yeah, so if you like these videos, like, comment and subscribe, share your views, and we will hook you up in the comments. And we'll see you in the next video, which could be a Rawsome review. All depends on what happens on Raw tomorrow night. We'll have to see if there's anything happening. But from last week's wedding, shall I say, I'm not holding my breath. But then we'll definitely be back with an AEW Explosive Elite review. Probably Saturday. That'll be Saturday, 2 videos. That'll be AEW and it will be SmackDown. So I'll leave it there. I'll say goodbye and say goodbye, Kai.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.